ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Verse 106. तथापि पुंविशेषत्वात् घटतेस्य नियन्त्रिता अव्यवस्थौ बन्धमोक्षौ आपतेतामिहान्यथा. So up to verse 103, this Jivatma Viveka is done, and initially Vidyaranya has talked about or analyzed Jivatma as per Vedanta Siddhanta, and then he talked about the confusions regarding this Jivatma, and the varieties of the confusions are the size of Jivatma and nature of Jivatma, identity of Jivatma, number of Jivatma. Someone says one, someone says many, etc., etc. So all this, there are innumerable confusions, and held by these Astikas as well as Nastikas. And finally he dealt with that yoga philosophers who talked about Jivatma, and that topic we concluded in verse 103. Now from verse 104 we have a Tatpada Viveka, Ishvara Viveka. So analysis of Ishvara. Definitely here there is no number of Ishvaras, the confusion regarding number of Ishvara, that won't be there, but at least the nature of Ishvara, etc., that is definitely there are varieties of opinions. And here, he does not talk about the Siddhanta first. What Vedanta has a view regarding Ishvara, that he doesn't talk about first. It comes later. And but of course we can, in brief we can tell, it has a three components. Jiva or Ishvara either has a three components. And one is real, other two are mithya. So consciousness is real. And then consciousness gets reflected, we call Ishvara, in a macro medium called Maya, etc. And so Maya is mithya, etc. And then Ishvaratvam, that Chidabhasa also, even though it's a macro reflection, but it is mithya. Any reflection is mithya ultimately. Anyway, and the consciousness is real. So, definitely, but that will be told later. And here Vidyaranya first talks about the confusions. And he talks about Ishvara confusions, and of course of these varieties of the confusions, he starts with the yoga people. What do they say regarding Ishvara? How do they define Ishvara? From verse 105 to 108. And he accepts Jiva is also Atma, Ishvara also is Atma. And in place of word Atma, Yogi uses the word Purusha. So both Ishvara and Jiva are Purushas only. For Ishvara he uses a Purusha Vishesha, special Purusha, special Atma. And both of them, Jiva and Ishvara, as per their philosophy, both have essentially same nature. Means both are asangam, both are unconnected, unrelated, both are all-pervading, and both are pure consciousness. And so, then, well, of course, if both are identical that way, then the question is, if Jiva and Jivatma and Paramatma are Asanga Chaitanya, and other things are also similar, then, how there is a difference between Jiva and Ishvara? Why don't you have a Mahavakya? And so you better accept our Mahavakya, what is talked in the Upanishad. No. Jivatma and Paramatma, even though essentially same, but Jiva is basically, Jivatma is affected by fourfold factors. So Jivatma is affected by the klesha, varieties of the problems called avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, vinivesha. And then Jiva has a karma, he is afflicted by the karma, punya, papa, etc. And then vipaka, karma phala will be there. And then ashraya, he has varieties of the samskaras. And so, Jivatma and Paramatma, even though both are asangam, both are chaitanyam, both are all-pervading, still Jivatma is affected by fourfold factors. Ishvara is not affected by fourfold factors. And so, that is how Paramatma is samsara rahita and Jivatma is a samsari. That is the difference between them. And that is how Paramatma is called Purusha Vishesha, is a special Purusha. Jivatma is a non-special Purusha. So, because we are afflicted by all these things, fourfold factors. And Ishvara is definitely a controller, because he is free. He is free from ragadvesha. He is free from avidya. He is free from abhinivesha. He is free from karmas, punya, papa, etc. He is free from all karma phala. He has not to undergo experiences of varieties of the pleasures, pain, etc. So he is a niyanta. He is a controller. And jivas are basically controlled. That is the difference between them. So Ishvara is one who manages the karma account. Karma being adrishtam, jiva does not, know the karma. And so where is the question of controlling, right? Jiva cannot control karmas because basically they are adrishtam. If you can't perceive, how will you control? And therefore, definitely jiva cannot control. And if other thing also is, if jiva is given a power to control, well, he will definitely favor himself. And therefore, jiva cannot control. Jagat cannot control, it's an inert entity. So, jiva and jagat both cannot control. Ishvara is the one who is a karma phaladata, and well, he is a controller. And therefore, he says, yogi says, we have to necessarily accept Ishvara. And that of course, he is telling to Sankhya philosophers who does not believe in Ishvara. He says, you better believe in Ishvara because such a niyanta should be there, etc., etc. And but you were yesterday, Swamiji, saying that he was addressing to us also. Yeah. So, now I am telling you this. He is telling us that, well, Ishvara is there. We say, yeah, we accept. We accept Ishvara. But then he says, Jiva and Ishvara are different also. That we don't accept. Or else we say, if you are saying us that there is a Ishvara of this creation who controls Jiva, etc., or Jagat also, yes, we accept. Then he says, Jiva and Ishvara are different. We say, yes, Jiva and Ishvara are different. Yeah. But then there is a difference. Still there is a difference. Even though we are agreeing to him, there is a difference. So from Vyavaharika Drishtya, well, we accept Jiva and Ishvara are different. Right? From Vyavaharika Drishtya, Jiva and Ishvara are different. Well, essentially they are one thing alone. Like, the ornaments, there is a difference in ornaments. It's all in transaction. Actually, essentially it is one thing alone. And therefore, this is all differences between Jiva and Ishvara are mithya basically. Vyavaharika means mithya. So in the transaction, Ishvara is a karma phaladata, Jiva is the one who receives karma phala, etc. Ishvara is the one who is a niyanta. It's all vyavahara. And Jiva is the one who is a niyantrita, basically is controlled. And so all this is a transactional reality and it is mithya. And therefore ultimately Jiva and Ishvara is basically in terms of reality, there is no difference between them. That's what we say. From Vyavaharika Drishtya, we accept Jiva and Ishvara are different. In fact, we accept jivas are many also. Ishvara is one, jivas are many. We accept. We accept. And that is true. That is very true. Because the mediums are many, reflections are many. But sun is one. So that is, so we don't have any problem. But if you say, well, the manyness of these reflections are there, and therefore many suns are there, well, that we can't accept. Because they are mithya actually. The medium is mithya and the reflection also is mithya, and therefore we accept the difference in jivas. We accept a difference between Ishvara and Jiva also, but that is from a certain standpoint, not in reality. So, so he says here, anyatha, means if you don't accept, he is telling to Sankhya only. So if you don't accept this Vyavaharik Ishvara who is a Niyanta, etc., well, there will be there will be a chaos. Because, like it's like a traffic. It's like our traffic, Traffic also, if there is no traffic police in India, I am telling. Alright, in India, if there is a traffic police is not there, then there is a chaos there. So same way, in the creation, there will be chaos if there is no niyanta. But everything is in order. That's how Puja Swamiji talks about. That order is Ishvara. So you find a order everywhere. And therefore there must be a controller. If you see, even if you don't see, a controller in a given factory, but everything is functioning smoothly in that factory. In the office, in the production, everywhere the things are working in a systematic manner, then there must be a controller. Whether you see it or not, it's not the issue. So in the creation, everything is in order, and therefore there must be a controller who controls the creation as well as the jivas in the creation. And so, here he says, avyavasthau bandhamokshau, means if you don't accept this such a Ishvara, well, avyavasthau, there will be a disorder regarding what? Bandha moksha, with respect to bandha and moksha. Means basically, you do a sadhana, right? Prakriti Purusha Viveka you do Ashtanga Yoga sadhana, etc. And do Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and you realize yourself as a Purusha who is Asangaha, who is all pervading, who is just consciousness. And well, you do that, and I get moksha. That how it is possible? And not only just bandha moksha, regarding janma maranam, etc. also. And there will be a problem. And the wrong jiva, basically a wrong jiva gets a wrong body, etc. A jiva who has done a lot of papam, and and he gets a very devata's body like that. So that kind of vyavastha won't be there if there is no niyanta. A niyanta who is there, who is a karma phala data, and definitely everything is in order. Everything is as per the karma. Therefore, as per the karma, then karma gives, karma is a niyanta. No, karma cannot be niyanta. Any jadam cannot be niyanta. Jada thing cannot be niyanta. There must be a conscious entity who controls through that thing. So well, definitely, so this bandha moksha avyavasthau apatetam. So there will be a disorder regarding janma maranam, bandha moksha, etc. Apatetam. So will happen. So a plus pat dhatu. Patati, you know very well. So that is a parasmapada root, and this is a vidhiling. So apatet, apatetam, apateyuhu, etc. These are the forms. So apatetam is a vidhiling, and prathama purusha dvivachana. So bandha mokshau apatetam dvivachana. Anyway, so he is telling to Sankhyas, better accept Ishvara. Verse 107. Bishasmadityeva madau asangasya paratmanah shrutam tadyuktamapyasya klesha karmadya sangamat. Now yoga philosophy continues. I told you from verse 105 to 108 he is defining Ishvara. And now here he says, so in support of his view that Ishvara is a niyanta, he gives a Shruti Pramana. Yesterday also I told you, all these people, they will search a support in Shruti in order to argue, especially in the Vedanta, especially in the Astika circle. if you want your view to be accepted, you have to quote from the Shruti. That what view you held, you may hold, basically has a support from the Shastra. So everyone has to quote. And somehow, fortunately, unfortunately, everybody gets some statement which supports their view. So that is another problem. Anyway, so he gives a Shruti Pramana. So Taittiriya Upanishad 281. Bhishasmad vatah pavate bhishodeti suryah bhishagnishchendrascha mrityurdhavati panchama iti. So this is a statement. Now he is quoting this. So to establish Ishvara as a Niyanta, he is quoting this mantra. So what the mantra says, well, Ishvara is a controller of all the jivas. He is controller of even exalted jivas. That is what it is. This mantra is quoting. Not just ordinary jivas. Exalted jivas also, who control other jivas. Even those jivas, those exalted jivas are controlled by Ishvara. And therefore, well, Ishvara is a Niyanta, etc. He is getting a support for his view. And who are those exalted jivas? Who have gone to Swarga? Who are basically, like a cabinet ministers, right? We all are there here in this India. All jivas are there, all beings. But some of them are exalted, who have gone to such a post, cabinet ministers and prime minister and all that. Well, definitely. Same way, all the jivas, out of them, some of the jivas have done a very exalted karmas. Therefore, they have got exalted birth. And so they are superior jivas anyway. And all they are called devatas. So they are also jiva, but they are called devatas. How do you call Swamiji devata is a jiva? Well, from one standpoint, devata is a Ishvara. From other standpoint, devata is a jiva. Devata is a jiva, Kenopanishad really proves, right? So Indra has to go for Brahmajnanam, etc. So he is also, in Chandogya also, Prajapati Vidya, in the 8th chapter, there also same thing. This Indra and Virochan went to Brahmaji for gaining Brahmajnanam. So he is a jiva, definitely. And well, from which standpoint you are saying he is a Ishvara? Because basically, this jiva also is a manifestation of Ishvara only. And therefore, and that's an exalted manifestation. And therefore, well, like a sun, all these, varieties of the natural elements we don't call them as just inert things. They are also sentient, because basically what happens is, Ishvara is, this entire creation is Ishvara's body. And so all the manifestations are they are Ishvara's limbs of that body, called Virat Purusha. So sun is a manifestation. So when you look upon Ishvara from the standpoint of sun, we call it Surya Devata. When you look upon just this wind, when you look upon Ishvara from the standpoint of the wind, well, definitely, because everything is sentient. Like this, my body, varieties of the limbs are there, all are sentient. And so you can look upon me from any standpoint. And therefore, same way, this whole creation basically is a Ishvara's manifestation, Ishvara's body, called Virat Purusha. And so any one of them is a limb. And so you look upon Ishvara from that given standpoint, is called Devata. And so that is, Devata is also a manifestation of Ishvara. Even I am manifestation of Ishvara, you are also manifestation of Ishvara. So this is, and so from one standpoint I am Jiva, from other standpoint I am manifestation of Ishvara also. Anyway, so Ishvara, the superior jivas, even these devatas, etc., are controlled by Ishvara. Therefore, Ishvara is a Niyanta. And so it says, Bhishasmat vatah pavate. Asmat Bhisha vatah pavate. Asmat means Ishvarat. Bhisha. Bish. This is a word. Bish. Shakarantah. And Bhisha Shabdah. And it's a Tritiya Vibhakti Ekavachanam. Bhisha means Bhayena. Bhayena. Out of fear. Of Ishvara. So, Bhisha Asmat means Ishvarat. Vataha Pavate. Vataha. Vayuhu. Pavate. Flows. And so, or functions. And so, out of fear of Ishvara, this wind blows, functions. This Vayu Devata functions. And so, iti evam adau iti means this kind of quotations are there. So, because other things are also there, Bishasmat Vatah Pavate Bisho Deti Surya. This sun, Surya Devata, also functions out of fear of Ishvara. So, and it looks, right, they are very controlled, and they suddenly don't go on leave. You don't find them, just they go on leave. And so, as if they are really controlled and out of the fear of that Ishvara, everyone is functioning continuously. So this is he is quoting for his for his opinion regarding Ishvara, that Ishvara is a Niyanta. For that he is quoting this. So iti evam adau, like this is statements are there. Paratmanaha asangasya shrutam tat shrutam. Tat means this overlordship of Paratmanaha, of Paramatma, who is asanga, has been shrutam, means has been quoted in the Shruti. Yuktam cha, and he is quoting, you see, Vidyaranya is saying asangasya Paramatmana. Why he should tell? He should say, this Paramatma is basically has a overlordship on even devatas, etc. He should tell that much. Why asanga he is bringing? Because that is what our yogi believes. So yoga defines Ishvara as asanga chaitanyam, and and by that Vidyaranya wants to prove that it is logical. For asanga chaitanyam, it is logical to have a overlordship. So for that purpose he is using this word, asangasya paramatmana or paratmana. So yuktam also means shrutam. Shruti definitely says overlordship of Ishvara, overlordship on these devatas, and it is yuktam also, means it is logical also, because it is asanga chaitanya. So Bhagavan has got a overlordship is logical, because klesha karmadi asangamat. Since he is free, he is asanga, so he is free from all restrictions. Which kind of restrictions? Klesha karmadi means nothing to shackle him. Asangamat means free from klesha karma, etc. Such kind of restrictions are not there. He is not a slave, and not a slave of a klesha. He is not a slave of ragadvesha. He has no avidya, and he has no asmita. He has no abhinivesha. He has no karma. He has no punya papa. He has not to undergo experiences of sukha dukkha, vipaka. And he has no particular samskaras, this is good, this is bad, this is favorable, this is unfavorable, and therefore he is free. And why he is free? Because asanga. And therefore, definitely, that's how he has been used. So that asangatvam proves, logically you can prove, because of this asangatvam, he has a overlordship. He is not affected by this klesha, karma, vipaka and ashaya. So this is what the yogi says, this is our vision of Ishvara, supported by Shruti and Yukti. Verse 108. Jivanam apyasangatvat kleshadirna hyathapi cha vivekagrahatah klesha karmadi praguditam. So he says here, yoga philosopher is among, they are answering a possible objection here. In previous shloka, we said this jiva's slavery is due to this klesha karma, etc., these four factors, and Ishvara's mastery, overlordship is due to absence of these four factors. So jiva is also a sangam, Ishvara is a sangam. And yet you say jiva is a slave because of association with the fourfold problems. So jiva is asangam, means associationless, relationless, right? And so associationless jiva has a slavery due to association with fourfold factors. And associationless Ishvara, asanga, has mastery because of absence of fourfold factors. So if you accept jiva is free from all I mean all these fourfold factors, well, Jiva will have a mastery. If we ask them, yeah, he says, if Jiva does not have this Klesha Karma, etc., if Jiva is not associated with Klesha Karma, Vipaka and Ashaya, he will also be a master like Ishvara. And and then we say, yeah, that Jiva, if Jiva is free from a fourfold factors, and we should not say, because Jiva is a Sangam, so Jiva cannot have an association with anything, this Klesha Karma, etc., like Ishvara. You say Ishvara is a Sangam, he does not have an association with these fourfold factors. And Jiva also is a Sangam. Then Jiva also should not have this association with fourfold factors. And then you say Jiva has association. Associationless Jiva, Asanga Jiva, has association with fourfold factors. Ishvara, who is also associationless, who is relationless, well, who is unconnected to everything, he also has no relation with this. But then Jiva and Ishvara both are basically Asangam. Then both should not have association with this Klesha Karma, etc. Then how can you call Jiva is Samsari and Ishvara is Asamsari? How can you call like that? One you call master, another you call a slave. How it is possible? So, well, he will manage. He will manage somehow. And you see their answer. We'll see the fallacy. So, Jivanam api asangatvat. Jivanam api asangatvat. Jiva has asangatvam. Jiva is asanga. Like what? Like Ishvara. So, kleshadihi na. It should not have klesha, adi padat, all this. Klesha, karma, vipaka, ashaya, etc. So, basically, Jivas also should be free from fourfold factors. But then he says, that's true. Oh, Vedanti, what you are saying us is true. We have thought over it. But Jiva has a ajnanam. You see, Jiva has a ajnanam, and well, Jivas, and therefore, basically, all the Jivas superimpose upon themselves all these fourfold factors. And therefore, how does he superimpose? He says this actually, what happens is, these fourfold qualifications they belong to mind, like klesha. I have told you. Avidya means actually not this ajnana. Avidya means that adhyasa. I have yesterday told you. Atmani anatma buddhi, anatmani atma buddhi. That's done by mind only. And therefore asmita, asmi bhava, I notion, that's also mind. Ragadvesha, that's also mind. Abhinivesha, a strong attachment to the body, etc. That's also mind. And then karma, punya papa, etc. That also is mind. Karma phala, pleasure, pain, mind. Everything mind. Ashaya, samskaras, different impressions, vasanas, mind. He says basically all these fourfold factors belong to the mind. But due to the jiva has a upadhi called jnana, these fourfold factors basically are superimposed upon the atma, which is asanga. And that's how jiva is getting afflicted with these fourfold factors. And so, but why this he commits that kind of a mistake? All these attributes of the mind, let it be at the mind. And why he should be superimposed upon this atma? He said because of the proximity. Because of the proximity, the attributes of one are superimposed upon the other. And that's simple to understand, because like our crystal, which is basically free from all attributes, but as due to an association with that flower, etc., which is nearby, it should be nearby. If you keep it 5 feet away, there will not be any color, etc., in the crystal. So it should be nearby. And definitely such a flower which is nearby, if it is a red color or something, whatever, then definitely crystal also appears red. And same way here also, mind is like a flower and atma is like a crystal, free from all attributes. But due to proximity of the mind and atma, basically, the attributes of the mind, all this klesha, karma, vipaka, everything, well, they are superimposed upon atma. And that's how atma appears always. That is the jiva. So that's how jiva has a samsara. And this kind of a, the objects remaining near, well, superimpose their attributes upon something which is free from attributes is called upadhi, you know very well. Upa means being closer. Adi means that which transfers its attributes, called upadhi. So sthula sharira is upadhi because its dharmas are transferred, And so that's how I am born. Then I say, you feel it is all Vedanta? Yeah, let it go. This is a yoga. They have a microphone right now. The yoga people are giving an explanation. So, I am born. So that is, well, definitely, that's nothing but a superimposition. The birth of this gross body is superimposed upon I, the Atma. And that's how you have a notion called I am born. So, klesha karmadi viveka agrahataha. In verse, Vidyaranya says, klesha karmadi, all these fourfold factors, klesha, karma and all, vipaka, etc. Viveka agrahataha, viveka agrahataha, due to aviveka, non-discrimination, the attributes of one is seen in other. So they appear in Atma because of non-discrimination. So, and the lack of this, discriminative knowledge, what is that knowledge? That this belongs to actually buddhi. Klesha, karma, etc. belong to buddhi, but I don't have that knowledge. In absence of that knowledge, I look upon all these attributes, etc., all these klesha, etc., all these fourfold factors in Atma. So the truth I don't know. So I transferred dharmas of the buddhi to Atma. Like this is simple. It's everywhere. They are saying, like he says, the movement of earth you transfer to sun, right? You say the sun is moving from east to west. Actually, earth is moving from west to east. But anyway, so the movement of earth is transferred to sun. Like, our emotions of the mind, we transfer to the atmosphere also, outside. So we say the day is very gloomy, like we say. Day is not gloomy, your mind is gloomy. But the emotion of the mind is transferred somewhere else. So this is a regular phenomenon. So this atmosphere is not good, etc., etc. in winter, this, that, etc. Actually, it has nothing to do with this kind of thing, but all these things belong to the mind. So anyway, basically, so Atma seems to have them. Actually, Atma is free from that. Atma being asangam, it is free from all this klesha, karma, etc. And so Jiva is asangam, that is true. Ishvara is asangam, Jiva is asangam, but Jiva has that ajnanam, and therefore the attributes of the mind which is very close by, mind which is close, so attributes of the mind are transferred to the Atma, and therefore Jivatma has become samsari. So then yoga philosopher says, well, I have this thing I have already told you before also. Where? In verse number 100. Verse number 100 we have already told about it. Asangayaha chitehe ved agrahat asangayaha chitehe. Chite. So chit means, chiti means here jiva, and asangayaha, which is asangam, has a ved agrahat, vivek agrahat, due to non-discrimination, the attributes of the prakriti, mind, etc., whatever you say, so that is transferred on Purusha. And so that is how Jiva and Ishvara will have a difference. Now, you will have a problem, because you feel that, this yoga and Vedanta looks very similar all the way, right? And Jiva has a upadhi called Ajnanam, and that's how he has adhyasa, and then Ragadvesha and this Abhinivesha, strong attachment to the body, etc. And Punya Papa, that is very true. We also say the same thing. And then what is the difference between these two philosophies? Very simple. Very simple. Things appear very, very big. Or sometimes I make it big. But actually it is to create a little interest in you, to create some kind of a jignasa in you. But it is very simple. And you have to just prick a small, in that balloon, you have to prick that what we call. Anyway, so that kind of a thing it is. First thing is, yoga says jivatmas are many. See, where we strike, our surgical strike takes place now. So basically, say jivatmas are many. We ask, why do you talk about plurality of jivas? He gives answer. Well, because they have got different attributes. Everyone has got klesha, karma, etc., vipaka, everything. And in among them also, it is different. Your klesha means ragadvesha, let us say. So your ragadvesha is different, right? And then your karmas, punya papas are different, and you get different type of karma phalas. Your samskaras are different, my samskaras are different, my ragadveshas are different, my punya papam are different, and then I undergo varieties of the pleasure and pain which you don't have right now. So all that is why in these fourfold factors there is a difference. Even though Atma basically has, out of Adhyasa, Atma has these fourfold factors, Jivatma has all these fourfold factors, but among them also there is a difference in that fourfold factors, and therefore the Jivas are many. And we ask, but are these fourfold factors, these attributes, are falsely, they are superimposed on Atma? Yeah. They are superimposed. We have already told you. They belong to the mind, but they are superimposed upon this Atma. Well, we say, how can the false attributes, which are superimposed, create a real difference in the Jiva? False attributes. Because you are counting manyness, plurality, based on the differences in attributes. Correct. But those attributes are not belong to the Jivatma. It belong to the mind. Therefore, Jiva basically has no difference among themselves. Through those attributes only you find a difference. And those attributes do not belong to them. They are false attributes for the Jiva. If the attributes itself are false for the Jiva, the plurality based on those attributes also will be false. How will you prove the plurality? This is a common sense. How will you prove the plurality of the Jiva? Please tell us that this and this is different, and therefore let's take 2. Then this and this is different. Then let's take 3 now. How will you prove? You have to take into account the attributes. But those attributes are not, they don't belong to Jivatma, because you say Jiva is Asangam. Well, and therefore the attributes of the mind are definitely superimposed upon Atma. So there in Jiva, whatever attributes you see, they are false attributes. In mind, they are right, real attributes, we accept. But in Jiva, they are false attributes. Like the color in the crystal is a false color. It's not a real color. And therefore, if you find it, suppose there are 3-4 crystals. And you put 3 or 4 different types of flowers nearby. And now one crystal appear red, one crystal appear orange, and one crystal appear blue, etc. And you say now there are 4 crystals. Well, basically, and you count in terms of color. Well, that is not correct. That's not correct. And therefore, that example, my example, is not proper. But you just take it in a superficial way. But what I am saying is, you find a plurality of a Jiva, basically based on attributes. And those attributes really don't belong to them. And therefore, plurality also is, that is not a correct way of looking at the Jiva as a plural. So the difference in Jivas are basically false. And if difference are false, well, how many Jivas should be there? Definitely, there must be one Jiva, means one Atma. Then therefore, and not only that, between Jiva and Ishvara also, the difference is mithya. Because you told us that Jiva is having these attributes and is afflicted by this klesha karma, etc. And Ishvara is one who is not afflicted by that. But Jiva also has no real those attributes, and therefore basically, and therefore between Jiva and Ishvara also, you are telling us that difference due based on these attributes only. And therefore, well, these are the false attributes in Jiva. And therefore Jiva and Ishvara also basically are one and the same thing. So Jiva difference, Jiva Ishvara difference are not real difference. Whether, now tell us, O Vedantin, Jiva has a difference and Jiva Ishvara has difference or not? I say yes. I am asking you last time. Jiva difference and Jiva Ishvara difference is there or not? No. One time you are saying yes, other time you are saying no. Yeah. We are saying like that. That's true. So with respect to, well, from the Vyavaharika Drishti, from the standpoint of Chidabhasa, there is plurality. And well, there is a difference between Jiva and Ishvara also in terms of Chidabhasa, definitely. So from the standpoint of Chidabhasa, there is a difference between Jiva and Ishvara, and there is manyness, plurality also in the Jivas. Well, but from the standpoint of the Chaitanya, this is one alone. So this is how. So here it says asangayaha chitehe udiritam prak. Well, definitely it was mentioned before in verse number 100. You can refer later. Verse 109. Nityajnana prayatnecha gunanishasya manvate asangasya niyantrutvam ayuktamiti tarkika. So with the previous shloka, well, yogis Ishvara's topic is over. And now Nayayikas, Nyaya philosophers, well, they come and well, they argue with these yogis. Actually, they are refuting each other, right? So he says, "O yogi, your definition of Ishvara is self-contradictory." What is the contradiction? See, he says, "Asangasya niyantrutvam ayuktam." Ayuktam, not logical, not ayuktam, not fitting in yukti, not fitting in logic. And so, asangasya niyantrutvam ayuktam, you say Ishvara is a asanga and also Ishvara is a niyanta, that is a contradiction. That's a contradiction. When you say someone is a controller, automatically it brings in who is controlled. So you can't have a controller without objects or beings who are controlled. If controlled, those beings or objects are not there, then how will you call yourself as a controller? And definitely in that case, there will be, if controller is there, there must be a controlled being also, and then there will be a relationship of a controller-controlled relationship called Swami Dasa Sambandha. Controller Swami, controlled Dasaha, Swami Dasa Sambandha will be there. And therefore, so if that Sambandha, that kind of a relationship is there, then how that Ishvara will be a Sangam? Sangha means a Sambandha. So Ishvara is Asanga, means no relationship, no connection with anything. Then that Ishvara, how can be a controller? Because a controller definitely has a connection, has a relationship with what is controlled. And therefore, well, so basically your explanation of this Ishvara as a niyanta and telling also as Asanga is self-contradictory. Asangasya Ishvarasya this niyantrutvam ayuktam. Ayuktam, it's not logical. And therefore, well, definitely this problem will be there. And Vedanti solve this problem ingeniously. They can't solve. Because we have this, this mithya, etc. thing is so beautiful. So we solve the problem very nicely. We say Ishvara is a controller from a Vyavarika Drishti. Well, with his Upadhi, Maya Upadhi, he becomes a controller, and definitely he has a connection with the world and Jiva. World and Jiva, Jagat and Jiva, both are controlled, and Ishvara with his Maya Upadhi, well, that is from the standpoint of a Vyavara. This from Mithya standpoint, he becomes a controller, and Jiva and Jagat are controlled. And well, but from its own standpoint, Ishvara is basically just pure consciousness from Paramarthik Drishti, from reality standpoint. Well, he is a Sangam. He has no connection with anything. And so, Ishvara can be both. Ishvara can be called controller. Sasangam has a connection with the controlled, and Ishvara is Asangam also. Both the things are possible. How? Well, one person in a dream can be a rich person with 5 luxury cars. And the same fellow in a waking state, he is a simply auto rickshaw driver. Is possible or not? Right? One person, then how? Auto rickshaw, and that auto rickshaw also does not belong to him. That also belongs to somebody. He is simply driving and getting some money every day from that person who owns that auto rickshaw. Okay? And therefore that is possible. One can be owner of luxury cars, and one can be just a driver who is having no vehicle. How? That is not possible. Possible. Satta Vedat. That's all. Satta Vedat. From Pratibhasik standpoint, from dream standpoint, well, he is a owner. And from Vyavaharika standpoint, he is not owner. He is just a driver. It's possible. One person alone from different standpoints and from different realities. Well, this can be understood. So Ishvara also, from Vyavaharika Drishti, while he is a controller and controls the Jiva and Jagat, and same Ishvara basically from Paramarthika Drishti, means from reality standpoint, well, definitely is just a Asanga Chaitanya. And so Sasangam and Asangam both are possible. Connected and unconnected to anything, both are possible. That is our answer to them. They did not answer because for them, well, definitely Jiva, the difference between Jiva and Ishvara, etc., is a real difference. So that is what the answer is. We'll see other things tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.